It's Monday, October 24th, and this is an end of the day SPY recap. You can see here today we ended up with a green bar follow through after the 3 bar on Friday, and we took out the first target, which was the prior week's high, and then eventually we moved up and hit those targets we've been talking about for a long time, these triple bars up here. And now it's a question, at least in terms of follow through or failure, since we hit our key targets, do we continue up towards the top of a potential broadening formation with our next big target way up here in this red bar to like the 389 area? Or in some form, do we fail and that's it, since we reach some key areas, and maybe start down? Which again, there's nothing to indicate that at the moment, but we'll watch for reversal of bars. We'll look for daily 2 downs. We'll watch for the midpoint of the prior week. Now that we moved above the high of the prior week on a 2 up, continuation, let's see a failure on any daily chart. We'll monitor if we can get to below the midpoint of the weekly bar. But again, no signs of that. If anything, we're now targeting up here, it looks like, until proven otherwise. In terms of today's action, we opened up and kind of failed a little bit on this first bar breakout, and that's where I kind of posted a video how if I was trading this as a stock, I would have bought probably that breakout, and then once it comes to the halfway point of that first bar, I tend to just sit back and or exit with a small loss and then sit back. As it turned out, if you look at this kind of chart from yesterday, it's just a normal, it ended up being just a normal pullback, never reached the pre-market lows, reversed a little bit, and eventually closed higher on the day, in line with, again, with still the bigger picture targets up here. Even though we were failing at the time I posted a morning video and we're red a little bit, I kind of knew we weren't anywhere near the halfway point of the prior bar. So yeah, it would have been nice, I guess, if I predicted that this would be the turning point and we would have went up the rest of the day. What I did say is that, I wasn't really thrilled about getting long until we were starting to attack this intraday high. That kind of happened. We had one little, if you look at it, we had the move down, a little pullback here, and then we kind of paused for a bit on this big green bar. At that point, I kind of knew, I didn't know for sure, but I assumed that, okay, the low of the day here is, on bar number 4, as opposed to the high of the day being on bar number 2. Like I said, my methodology, the open and high usually happens somewhere early in the session. We did break down a little bit here. I thought, we can target down here if it was going to continue. Once you saw price kind of pause, head up a little bit, you were just going to, at this point, see if you kind of just held here for, the midway point of this move down and then start down again. It didn't do that. It went up. And at that point, either here or then watching an orderly pullback in green, you kind of we're anticipating the high of the day being taken out, at least in terms of intraday structure, which happened, and then we end up closing green. So let's now just keep the the follow through to the upside in mind, going higher. There's some, every day it goes higher, you get a little temporary exhaustion risk. We do have a potential projection up here to this top of the megaphone, which aligns with the top of this weekly bar, which is back here. So there's still room to run if it wants to expand, and we'll just go day by day. So again, a bit of a tricky day in terms of how the opening price action didn't immediately start up, but I guess perhaps maybe I should have been a little more bold in saying that I didn't think this move would really ever make it down here into the midpoint of yesterday after such a strong move up, and that at some point it was going to turn around near the close of yesterday, which often happens, this yellow line, and start up on the day again. So I didn't really abandon my upward bias towards these targets, but the opening price action was a little tricky. So let's see what happens tomorrow.